This video says the NFL is in the Epstein files. I'm interested in this. I want to see what the hell they got going on. What the NFL doing in the Epstein files? Well, I know you got billionaires, millionaires. They are all doing this scandalous shit together. But to name the NFL, oh wow.
Bombshells in the latest release from the Jeffrey Epstein file.
Steve Tisch writing, "Is she a pro or civilian?" asked Epstein for details about a Ukrainian girl, prompting Epstein to reply that he does not like records of these conversations. We had a brief association.
The DOJ just dropped over 3 million documents related to one of the most notorious figures in modern history, and buried in those files, mentioned over 440 times, is the name of an NFL team owner. I'm talking about detailed email exchanges. I'm talking about the co-owner of one of the most iconic franchises in professional football, the New York Giants, trading messages with Epstein about women, setting up meetings with women, and using language that'll make your jaw drop. And somehow the NFL is still figuring out whether or not they should investigate this. But here's what makes the story even crazier. This is a guy who is worth an estimated $1.5 billion. The man who produced Forrest Gump, the only person alive with both an Oscar and a Super Bowl ring, and a guy who just weeks ago helped hire John Harbaugh as the Giants'
I didn't know he produced fucking Forrest Gump.
His name is all over the Epstein files. So I'm going to break down exactly what these emails say, what the NFL is doing about it, and why history tells us that the result of all of this is going to be very disappointing. I'm fully expecting this video to be demonetized, guys, so YouTube won't recommend it to new users. So to fight that, if you guys like this video, we could potentially get it pushed out in the algorithm. And now with all that out of the way, let's get to today's video. Before we get into the emails themselves, you need to understand who Steve Tisch is.
I gotta be careful with doing these videos about Epstein's files and shit, bro. Cause like, yeah, YouTube, I feel like YouTube is kind of like salicing some shit too. Because honestly, like some of my shorts, bro, talking about the Epstein stuff, like shorts of my long-term video, long-form content, like they ain't been getting pushed out like that, to be honest. So I don't know what the hell going on with it. I gotta be careful, man.
This isn't some low-profile guy that no one's ever heard of. Steve Tisch was born on February 14th, 1949, into one of the most powerful business families in America. His father, Preston Tisch, co-founded Lowe's Corporation, and at one point even served as the United States Postmaster General under President Reagan. We're talking serious old money here, guys. The Tisch family's combined net worth is estimated around $10 billion. But Steve didn't just ride the family name. He went to Tufts University, got into filmmaking, and started producing movies. In 1983, he produced Risky Business, the film that made Tom Cruise a star. Then in 1994, he won the Academy Award for Best Picture for producing Forrest Gump, which grossed nearly $677 million. He also produced American History X, Snatch, and The Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith. The guy even has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and appeared on Shark Tank as a guest shark. Now on the football side, his father bought 50% of the New York Giants back in 1991. When his dad passed away in 2005, Steve took over as chairman and executive vice president. He shares ownership with John Mara, and together they oversaw the Giants winning Super Bowl 42 and Super Bowl 46, both of those legendary Eli Manning runs.
Bro, just look at him, bro. Bro, he looked like he was at the Epstein Island, bro. He just looks like it, bro. They all got that look. I'm telling you, they all got a look to them. The look is, it don't look real.
And Super Bowl 46, both of those legendary Eli Manning runs. He's literally the only person in history to have both an Oscar and a Super Bowl ring. So I'm not talking about some fringe figure here. This is NFL royalty, Hollywood royalty, American business royalty, and now his name is popping up 440 times in the Epstein files. Now, for those of you guys that haven't been going down this bizarre rabbit hole like I have, let me explain how these documents even came out to begin with, because this has been a wild saga in of itself. For years, people have been demanding transparency about who was in Jeffrey Epstein's circle. For those of you guys who don't know, Epstein was a wealthy financier who was arrested in 2019 on federal charges related to child trafficking. He was found dead in his jail cell on August 10th, 2019. The medical examiner said that he took his own life, though it does doesn't appear to be really likely that he did. And if you guys want to see how, CoffeeZilla has a great video on this. But back in 2008, Epstein had already been charged with soliciting a minor in Florida and had become a registered offender. He served just 13 months of an 18-month sentence and somehow got back to living his life among the rich and powerful. His associate Ghislaine Maxwell was convicted of related charges and is currently serving 20 years in prison.
How the fuck she served 20 years? He served one year, bro. Well, he killed this. But he unalived himself in jail, so maybe he had more time. I don't know.
Fast forward to 2025, and Congress passed the Epstein Files Transparency Act, which was signed by President Trump on November 19th, 2025. The bill passed the House 470-1, with only one congressman voting against it, and man, that's gotta be the worst look of all time. This one congressman's like,
no, let's not release the files.
But the law required the Attorney General to release all unclassified records related to the Epstein investigation within 30 days, and the DOJ started releasing documents in batches starting in December, and by the end of January of 2026, over 3 million pages had been made public, which is kind of bizarre because Kash Patel literally went under oath and said that there was nothing in the files.
There is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday.
Man,
this is where Steve Tish's name came flying out. Let's get into what's
out of 3 billion pieces of copies of paper. Out of 3 million pieces of paper, you telling me ain't nothing in there credible?
Actually in these emails, because this is where it gets uncomfortable. According to ESPN's reporting, which was first broken by The Athletic, most of the correspondence between Tish and Epstein dates back to around 2013. In one exchange from April of 2013, Epstein is literally setting Tish up with a woman named Katya. She emails Epstein saying she Googled Steve Tish, found out he's an Oscar-winning producer and Giants owner, and said she'd love to meet him. So Epstein's playing matchmaker here for a second. In another email from May of 2013, Tish sends an introductory message to a different woman, writing, "Jeffrey Epstein is very excited about you and I meeting each other. I like that idea. Do you?" Epstein then tells Tish that the woman is a microbiology major still in university and suggests that Tish should make it clear that he would organize her travel ticket. So pretty much Epstein is setting up a 76-year-old billionaire with someone that's still in university and is trying to get this 76-year-old billionaire to fly her out.
Man.
And it's even worse. In an email chain with the subject line, Ukrainian girl, Tish writes to Epstein saying he had just had lunch with someone he met at Epstein's house. Epstein responds with extremely graphic physical descriptions of other women, and Tish responds by asking whether this woman is pro or civilian, which appears to be Tish asking whether this woman is an escort or not. And then there's even a follow-up email where Epstein writes back to Tish after one of these arranged meetings telling him, "You did very well," adding that the woman was a little freaked out by the age difference and instructing him to go slow, which is just so disgusting, bro. I mean, like, the fact that Epstein's like instructing him how to go about this and it's just so weird. Epstein also wrote that he tried to convince the woman not to return to Ukraine and that having her crying worked. And Tish's response is borderline sociopathic. I mean, his response is nice report, funny comment on crying. There were also emails showing that Tish offered Epstein tickets to his suite at Giants games and invited him to attend other games during the season. Meanwhile, Epstein invited Tish to his private island in the Caribbean. And at one point, Epstein sent Tish a message saying, "Send me a number to call. I don't like records of these conversations." He literally put in writing that he doesn't want a written record of these conversations.
Right. Yeah, nothing shady or weird going on here amongst the elite of society. For sure not. Yeah.
Yeah, because the conversations are bad, bro. They're bad. I feel like I feel like a lot of them was trying to, like, not have records of this shit. That's why, like, the messages they're sending each other, it don't seem like it's that bad if you don't know what they're talking about or what's going on. Like, if you just stumble across the messages, then you're like, oh, this is just a regular conversation. But when you actually know what was happening at Epstein Island, then it seems like, okay, well, not seem like, then you actually understand why they was speaking the way they were speaking, and they wasn't just coming out just saying outlandish shit. But I mean, like, if you know what was going on at the island, and people were going to the island, and they got emails going back and forward about him, this guy from this island, doing all this crazy sinister stuff with children and all this shit, and grown people too, sex trafficking and all this stuff. And he's hooking people up on dates with these other. Well, he's matchmaking. It's no secret that they was involved in it, bro. It just feels like the government's trying to cover everything up. They're trying to shield off these other people and say like, no, they ain't got no involvement in it. They don't have no involvement. So you telling me that none of these people were bad? The only bad person was Jeffrey Epstein, but they knew what he was doing.
So how does a billionaire NFL owner respond when 440 mentions of his name show up in the Epstein files? Well, Steve Tisch released a statement through the Giants on January 30th, and honestly, I think it may have made things even worse. He said, "We had a brief association where we exchanged emails about adult women, and in addition, we discussed movies, philanthropy, and investments. I did not take him up on any of his invitations, and I never went to his island. As we all know, he was a terrible person and someone I deeply regret associating with." Now look, I'm not a lawyer, I'm just some guy that makes sports videos in his house, and I want to be clear that Tisch has not been accused of any illegal activity. But calling 440 mentions in the Epstein files a brief association, emails about women being flown in, Epstein giving him reports on how dates went, asking if women are pro or civilian, that's a brief association to him? I mean, this is an extremely out of...
They had a very, very comfortable relationship. To ask that question, whether the lady is pro or civilian, y'all understood the lingo, that lingo. And you knew what you was getting yourself into when you started dealing with this motherfucker, bro. You know, you knew what you was getting yourself into.
Touch statement to put out. He would have been better off just being quiet. And the fact that he's being dismissive of this situation is just even worse. It's also worth noting that another sports team owner showed up in the files. Josh Harris, who owns the Washington Commanders, the Philadelphia 76ers, and the New Jersey Devils, also appeared, but his situation was completely different. The correspondence was through assistants. It was about business meetings when Harris worked at Apollo Global Management, and a spokesman confirmed that Harris never had an independent relationship with Epstein and actually tried to avoid meeting with him, which is night and day from what we're seeing from Tisch. This all breaks on a Friday night. Super Bowl week passes by. I mean, there's a reason I'm covering it now and not before the Super Bowl.
So all of them are not bad, bro. All of the people are not bad. Yeah, it's just unfortunate, bro, that a lot of this stuff is gonna get swept under the radar and it's gonna get forgotten. And a lot of people are gonna get away with the shit they did. We got a lot more P. Diddy's out here, bro, Epstein's, than what it appears to be.
Come closer, hip hop supernova is back. Keep your composure, yeah. All hail the chosen. You niggas place holding. I saw in so important like Air to Jordans. Just culture.